Hi.
Hi, Hans. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Great. It's nice to meet you. I'm Sarah Hill, and I live in Columbia, Missouri, and I work for the Veterans United Network. You are where?
I'm in Germany, Bavaria. So,
Great. Great. Excellent. Well, this is my very first help out. So you are our guinea pig, so to speak, where we'll be chatting a little bit about how to host a help out. So are you ready to go?
sure.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I want to see a little bit about what your needs are. Are you currently using Hangouts, or are you familiar with the platform?
Yes, I'm using Hangouts and I'm using Hangouts on Air.
Okay, great. And are you hosting Hangouts for Blogger Camp?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We've got a little TV channel in Germany. Maybe you're familiar with it. I think Gunnar Sohn, maybe you know him.
Okay, the name sounds familiar because I believe I chatted either with someone from your entity or someplace else on the Google Plus stream where we were talking
Yeah.
about Google Glass a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You've got some glasses.
Yes, I do have Google Glass, and they're actually charging in another building. Or I would bring them. I would bring them in and show them to you. The battery life doesn't last very long, so I have to keep them charged, or I would have brought them to this Hangout. But Glass is compatible with Hangouts, and essentially what Glass is a broadcast tower for your face.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
journalists here are using it that way because they're able to open up a Hangout on Glass and then allow other individuals into that conversation and walk through a breaking news event, walk through a riot, a parade, or something like that, and they're able to gather that information in real time. So that's a pretty unique use of Glass combined with Hangouts. But
But Hangout on Air is not working with Google Glass.
Correct, not yet, but you have to think it will be supported in the future. Just like Hangouts on Air first came to Android and then they came to iOS and iPhones. That eventually Hangouts on Air, you have to think will be enabled for Google Glass. And when that does, I really think you'll see a resurgence in journalists using it and other content creators as essentially a free broadcast tower. Because if you were able to stream and capture images hands-free at the same time, that sure beats holding up any phone or any broadcast camera. So the implications for people who do live reports and things like that, I think, could be really fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I saw Tim Pohl doing it in Istanbul, in
Yeah,
Turkey.
he was using Glass.
Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
hacked them.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of neat apps that you can hack as well. You can they call them side apps that you load, and one of them is a Google Sky Map, and it allows you to see all the stars in the sky when you have them on. And if you turn your head to the left and the right, it'll map them out in the sky and tell them where they are, which is pretty phenomenal. And there's also a Winky app, so it allows you to wink your
Yeah.
eye and then take a picture with your eye, which is kind of controversial here in the U.S. I don't know if there's been any spin of it in Germany, but
Oh,
it's
the Germans are the most critical about those things because they always think they get supervised from NSA or the state or whomever. So they are very scared of that. That's terrible in Germany, I tell you.
oh, I know, but it's good to know that in Germany they're experimenting with glass. So that's pretty cool. Well, I can give you. I want to answer your questions. I want to make sure that I'm answering them, but I can tell you a little bit about myself and tell you a little bit about hosting a Hangout, and then feel free to chime in with questions, anything that you had. And I'd also like to hear about some of the things that you're working on. But I'm essentially, I started out as a journalist at the NBC affiliate here in Columbia, Missouri at KOMU TV, and how I got interested in Hangouts and the visual back channel, not just the text-based back channel of social media. The visual back channel was I opened up a laptop behind the scenes of a live television newscast and invited others to join that Hangout and see the news from a different perspective. And what that did to me was essentially open my eyes that social media doesn't just have to be a text-based conversation that's asynchronous. So I tweet and then I wait a little bit and then you tweet me back, that it could actually be living, breathing human media is what I call it, and having a real-time conversation and engaging with people face-to-face. I'm looking at you, I see you have a yellow shirt on. When I'm talking, you're nodding your head, and I'm looking at your body language. And the same is the case for human media, the new layer of social and communicating with people face-to-face. So at that local television newscast, the world flooded in. We had people from Germany, from Australia, New Zealand, all around the United States as well, Asia, and that kind of flipped a light bulb off in my head that perhaps there was something to engaging with each other face to face, and this was a global magic carpet that could essentially put a face on any text-based website out there. These are virtual front porches that are allowing us to talk with each other live in real time in Germany. So I started hosting Hangouts. I work for the Veterans United Network now, and we do stories about veterans and military families. That's my beat. We do video stories, and then we share them on our social channels. We have roughly about 5 to 6 million followers on our social channels that we then disseminate them to. So I host Hangouts with celebrities, people who are veterans, people who are interested in topics of discussions like veterans, like post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. And so I spend a lot of time in these boxes and communicating with individuals. And one of the first things that I tell people on how to host a Hangout on air, or the first skill they learn, is how to blue box. Have you learned how to blue box? And essentially is if you hover over my thumbnail and you click on it, you see a blue box comes around them, and that's how you sticky click. We also call it sticky clicking, which allows that individual to be propelled then into the big box of the Hangout. That is one of the things that you will use a lot in Hangouts on Air, and if you unclick that blue box, then the audio is controlled to the other side of the screen. Some helpful apps that I would suggest. The Cameraman app obviously is a helpful one. I don't know, do you use that at all, or have you played around with that one?
I've never used it. I tried it once, but I never used it.
Yeah, and a lot of that is now built into the Hangout toolbox. Yeah. So the Hangout toolbox obviously is very helpful. That might be what you're using to display your lower thirds. Okay,
that's,
I don't have
Boing's TV on a Mac, so I just can play videos in this.
Gotcha.
Hallo meine Damen und Herren, mein Name ist Hannes Schlee und
ich
stelle
hier
aus
dem
Studio Eising. Wir haben hier Setup für die Agritechniker, das ist eine Messe, die jetzt nächste Woche anfängt. Am Sonntag geht's los in Hannover, dem größten Messegelände der Welt.
Wow,
dort werden insgesamt über die 7 Tage verteilt
so where are you? Where are you reporting at?
Sorry?
Where are you reporting at there? What were you doing there?
I'm working for the agricultural and we have a big fair in Hanover next week. It starts on Sunday, and I'm streaming live via Hangout. I hope the network is stable enough in the fair halls, because there are so many access points around there. And then we try to get people involved with the fair, because it lasts for 7 days, and I'm working with the German Agricultural Association. They are presenting this fair, and they want people to see how good the fair is to come to the fair. And so they said we need something very quick, very, very, very instant. Because if you take a video, you have to cut it and then you have to upload it. And they told me that the first videos from the fair were 3 days after the fair started, were online. So the people couldn't take time to consider to go to the fair for the last days. So that's the purpose. And it's brand new. It's the first time I do that.
Yeah, well, that's great, exciting, and what great visuals that you probably have at the fair to shoot and to show people as well. So that's really neat.
Yeah, and we want to get engaged with the audience as well, with the over social media. I have a special blog for farmers, And we have the YouTube stars from the States, the Patterson brothers, and maybe you know them. They made a Gangnam Style parody.
Oh, yeah.
They called it Farmer Style. It's really famous. It got 15 million hits on YouTube. So they will attend this fair as well. So I will meet them and have some interview with them as well.
That is great. They have a lot of viral videos with different songs through there, and that's pretty unique too. They shot a lot of them themselves, which is pretty remarkable. Well, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Some of the other apps that we use in Hangouts on Air, and I'll type this into the chat, and it's called Pro Studio.
I heard about that.
Pro Studio is made by a friend of mine. He's actually a veteran here in the United States, a Navy veteran named Chad Lafarge. And if you load that app, it allows you to control audio levels of the individuals in the Hangout. It allows you to bring them on and off stage, meaning white out their thumbnail so they're not there. It allows you to bring the big box of the screen full screen. So on YouTube, cool. It all comes full screen and then the thumbnails disappear. So a lot of things to explore with the Pro Studio app. We actually, when we host our Hangouts on Air, and I'll just tell you how we do them, we crowdsource for topics and individuals within Google+. So say 2 weeks or a week before our event, we'll post our Hangout with the event announcement and saying we are talking about post-traumatic stress for veterans who would like to join us, and we have them RSVP to that event, but also email us, because sometimes people click that yes button on the RSVP for the event, but they don't actually want to attend the Hangout. So we have them email us in advance, and we're able to get them in a queue to invite them into the Hangout on Air. Now, a lot of people ask, how do you vet individuals? Like, how do we, because since it's a streaming live Hangout, we want to make sure that the individuals in our Hangout don't say curse words or do any kind of inappropriate behavior. So how we're doing that is we test their connections. We require them, in order to come into our Hangout, to test the connection first. And when we test that connection, we're also vetting that individual for their character, and not only just their lighting and things like that, but to educate them about the rules of our Hangout, the do's and don'ts of our Hangout. For instance, don't sit in a squeaky chair, don't move back and forth in the frame because it changes the focus in your shot, make sure you're well lit, don't have any noisy ceiling fans, turn off the notifications on your computer. Those kinds of things are the things that we tell our guests. So that's how we vet them. What was that? You were to help out.
No, maybe the time is over.
It says 10:10.
No, it's 5 minutes still.
Oh, yes. We still got time. Anyway, that's how we vet the guests. Then we have a director join in one of the thumbnails. So Chad Lafarge actually joins in one of the thumbnails, and he is directing or punching, essentially, the Hangouts just like you would a production switcher. And so he's in there, and he's selecting which of the frames go full screen. We then, essentially when we're doing the story, we bring in not only the face-to-face social channel, but the text-based channel as well via social media. So we'll give our hashtag. For instance, if it's Heroes Hangout, we'll search all of those Heroes Hangouts, and then we'll curate those comments and read those comments live during the Hangout on Air. That brings not only in a face-to-face engagement, but also a text-based engagement as well.
Is there a good software you can recommend for those hashtag searching? Because that's a problem we also have. We used the Moritz Talkstuff Hangout Toolbox. But the comment tracker is not working like it worked before. So I have the problem that we have Twitter hashtags, we now have Facebook hashtags, and we have comments on YouTube and also on Google+. So how do you get it together?
Yeah, there are a few different things, and some of them are in the testing process, but there's a questions feature. That an app, if you search it, it's called the questions. The only downfall to that is that the questions are embedded in the YouTube player. So after the Hangout, those questions live inside the YouTube player, and those comments aren't displayed underneath the Google Plus account. Other people are working on some solutions. I was just in a Hangout with Pixel Core not too long ago, and they have a phenomenal app that searches questions from all different platforms, but it's not available to the public yet, so I know they're working on it. But we do it manually, Hans. We have a producer who looks at all of those platforms and then puts it in a Google Doc that we are then able to see and curate those comments and read it on the air. Sometimes we use the question app, but a lot of times we don't, because it appears after the event is over that nobody commented about your broadcast because it doesn't show up within the Google.
Weird,
yeah, and so all of these things, are things that I'm sure they'll solve and problems they'll solve in the future. But until then, we're using workarounds such as Comment Tracker and also the Questions app as well.
Do you go over terrestrial frequency with your Hangout then, or is it only on the internet?
It's only on the internet. Yeah, we don't. It doesn't broadcast on TV. Now, I do freelance work for a television station here in town, but it's not a streaming. We do video stories. But our primary mode of broadcasting is via YouTube.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know Robert Redl?
Yes, I love Robert Redl. Robert Redl was one of the first individuals who hopped in my Hangout when I was doing television in Columbia. He is amazing. We actually did a Hangout on air flight simulation once where we had all the passengers.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a friend of Robert as well.
Oh, yeah. Excellent! I love him. Please tell him hello. And he taught me a lot about this platform in the early days when I was just getting started and still trying to figure things out. So he's a phenomenal individual, and please tell him hello. So
I'll do.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is so great to meet you. Do you have any other questions before I go and hop to my next one? Because it looks like, gosh, I'm booked for the next 3 ones. So
yeah, you're fully booked. I just switched the time, so I have to be quick to get another slot. I wanted
Sounds
the first
good.
one.
Well, yay!
Okay.
I'm so glad. Do you care if I screen grab you? Can you?
Sorry?
Do you care if I take a picture of you?
No,
Okay.
no problem.
Okay, ready?
I put the record on, so
yeah, and I allowed it.
Do you mind having that on the internet?
Yeah, please. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So I am going to screen grab you. So smile here, Hans. Gotcha. Excellent.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. See
Have a
commerce.
nice time.
You too. High five. Hang on.
See ya.
High five. See ya. Bye.